And I kind of like ruminate on this for a couple more pages, and then I end the entry with, I felt close to Corey, like we have a future together. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Either way, I love him. Now, I haven't told Corey that I love him yet, and he hasn't told me because I won't let him tell me, but I definitely am in love with him, and I'm scared that I'm going to mess it all up, and spoiler alert, I do. For more than 2 decades, I have written in a diary almost every single day. And guess what? I saved them all. Each week, I will be reading from these archives and getting to know myself from the lens of my 10, 16, 25, and 36-year-old self. We'll explore big topics such as body image, queerness, divorce, addiction, mental health, and friendship. I'll read cringy poems and attempt to find compassion for the painful tenderness of my younger self. Join the drama of me and my guests as we explore our boy-crazy, closeted, angsty selves, one stupid page at a time. Hello, beautiful humans. Thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Angsty Pod. I'm so excited to be back to some regular scheduled programming. And I have an exciting announcement for today. So next Saturday, March 21st, is the second birthday of the Angsty Pod. It's crazy. Time. What is time? Am I right? This podcast has been such a special project for me. When I launched it, I kind of thought maybe I would do it for like a season, and then I would like switch formats and I would do a podcast about something else, or maybe not a podcast, just do something else. I have all these creative hopes and dreams, including, lots of books that are in the works. I've got a script for a one-woman show. I want to get into doing stand-up. I want to get into doing spoken word. So I always have all of these projects. And if you're like me and you have a lot of things that you want to do all the time and you're very ambitious, the problem or the downside with that is a lot of the times you don't follow through on stuff. Or speaking about myself, I don't follow through on stuff. And to say that I've been doing this for 2 years now and really showing up several times a month is really special to me. And just to say that this is something that I followed through on just feels like I feel really, really proud of myself. They don't give medals or awards for just saying hey, you said you were going to do something and you did it. And not only did you do it, but you did it consistently for 2 years. They should, but they don't. So I'm just giving myself a little crown right now because it feels important and I want to celebrate it. So next Saturday, I'm going to be recording a special episode that is basically just going to be a bunch of different poems that are from the archives. These are poems that I have pulled from diaries from when I was 11 years old, a lot from when I'm 15 years old. That was a hot poetry year for me. From when I'm 20, from when I'm in college, from when I'm in my late 20s. I've kind of pulled poems out from all these different diaries over the years, and I want to read some to you. I'm excited because they're so cringy, and also because I just want to sort of offer a special episode to thank all of you for listening. This podcast has been such a dream come true. I have had on some of my very favorite people as guests, starting with my pal Maria. Definitely a highlight was interviewing my dad on the podcast and doing a 2-part episode with my love Shiva. I have had some really amazing guests give me several hours of their time. Lots of poets, lots of people in my community. I've also made a few friends on this podcast because of folks reaching out saying which episodes they loved. I would say every couple of weeks, I get just a random email or a DM from a stranger just saying how much something I said on one of the episodes has helped them, which I got to be honest, wasn't something that I was anticipating when I started this project. I just thought I would be reading my diaries to crickets, and like that. The fact that so many of you listen each and every week and send love and share episodes and hit that little heart or follow or whatever button, depending on what app you use, it's just, I'm overwhelmed, and I'm incredibly proud and just want to keep going. I did some organizing in my basement the other day because I was like, I wonder how long I can do this podcast for, because, I started this when I was 10 years old and I'm already 17. But then I was thinking, well, that's over 2 years to cover a lot. And I can definitely say I'm going to keep this going for a while because I have 2 full size, like the deep Rubbermaids full of journals that I haven't even touched. So definitely we're going to keep this thing going. I can't promise how long I'll be doing this for or what this project might morph into, but for now, I'm so honored to be celebrating the Angsty Pod's 2nd birthday and honored to do it with all of you. If you have a favorite episode or a favorite moment from an episode that you want to share, feel free to message me or put it in the comments, again, depending which platform you listen on. And as always, if you are somebody who has a big stack of diaries or a small stack, doesn't have to be a big stack, and you want to share, I'd love to have you on as a guest. I'm always looking for guests. If you listen to next week's episode, I actually did an interview with a friend of mine named Christina who didn't read diaries. She read emails that she had sent herself over the course of a couple years when her kids were really young. So that was really cool. So it doesn't have to be diaries necessarily, but something from your past that you want to sort of read through and chat with me about. I would love, love, love to have you on as a guest. So right now I'm booking guests for the summer. So if that interests you, you know where to reach me. You can find my email address below, or you can visit my website, www.doulaofwords.com. Okay, with this episode, we are returning to 2006. It's actually been quite a few episodes since I read from this series of diaries because I took a little detour and actually did a 3-part series on my time in Australia. And I'm just returning to 2006. So the last episode was called Romance or Dysfunction because that is how these diaries feel. So I'm returning to April 2006, and I am in grade 12. I'm just about to graduate high school. I'm just about to go to prom, and I'm dating the boy that I have sort of loved all through high school since the first day of grade 9. I was madly in love with this boy named Corey who absolutely encompasses my entire life as a 17-year-old about to graduate from high school. And reading these diaries has really dug up some stuff because sometimes when I think about it, I can only remember the ending. Like, I can only remember how awful it was when this relationship ended and how heartbroken I was. And I see now that the reason it hurt so bad is because I actually loved this boy so much. But it's hard for me to remember that. But what I'm learning is, like, 2 things can be true, right? You can be in a outlandishly dysfunctional relationship. And when I say dysfunctional, I don't mean toxic. I think the relationships that I've written about in other diaries might have been toxic, but this one I don't remember as being toxic. I just remember it being very unbalanced. And I remember it being... the timing felt bad. The timing felt wrong because I was... a couple things which come up in this diary in particular. I was addicted to drugs, and so that was making my whole being very roller coastery, very up and down. And, unfortunately, my boyfriend at the time received the brunt of a lot of that. And another thing was that I was really confused about my sexuality. So I was very much in love with this boy, but I was also starting to explore women. And again, I don't want to give too much away because this diary is so rich, but yeah, this has been a tough one. This has been probably the most emotional I've felt so far in 2 years of reading diaries, is like reading the slow decline of this relationship with somebody that I was very much in love with. So you have that to look forward to, the slow decline. As with most of my diaries, it's not really a decline. It's more of a roller coaster. So we've got ups, we've got downs. Sometimes in the same page, we've got ups and downs. So I'm excited to get into it with you. And again, thank you all so much for listening, for being here, for rooting for me, for supporting me. And yeah, let's get into this diary back to 2006. April 17th, 2006. My weekend was memorable. On Thursday, I had the night off, so I chilled with Corey. I went there around 5:30, hung out, watched TV. We missed each other, I think. So we had sex. It was unplanned, but we were lying there watching a movie, and he was rubbing the inside of my pant lining near my stomach, and I just wanted it. It was quick but nice. I like how two things. One, I think we were missing each other. We probably just spent the last 5 days together. And also, it was unplanned. Sir, no, it wasn't. I finished that part by saying we lied around, cuddled, and kissed goodnight. On Friday, I worked from 6:30 to 11:30 and then went to Cassie's to get ready with her and Amber. I believe I'm talking about 11:30 p.m. And they made me feel pretty. Then we went to Harris's. I felt the way I usually do there. Unwanted, ugly, like everyone is against me. I got really drunk really fast. I talked to Mike, tried to have an in-depth conversation, made an ass out of myself. I told Drew's girlfriend Jackie that she was gorgeous. Saturday, I cleaned all morning and then ran some errands. I called Corey at 5 to ask him if he wanted to come over. He came back here and we did a puzzle for 2 hours. Haha. On the way back to his house at midnight, I felt weird. Weird in the way that I kept my clothes on and didn't say much or initiate anything. The truth is, I feel closer to Corey than I want to sometimes. Sometimes I wonder when we'll start to fight about every little thing like all couples eventually do. It seems like never, and that feels too good. So I'm thinking that is probably some trauma response. Things are feeling so good with him that when they feel good, I get really scared and pull back. And of course he notices, and of course that's going to cause conflict between us. April 25th, 2006, we're just going to keep that ball rolling. I say, last night, sighs, wow, what a crazy good feeling. I never knew it could be that good. As I slept, Corey loved me. He didn't say it, to my knowledge, but he hugged me, brushed my hair on my face away, kissed my forehead. He sounded sad, but then I realized he was just happy. Real happiness. The way I feel around him all the time. He made me feel so amazing, even when I wasn't even fully awake. And then tonight, Chris came into my work just to visit me. He asked if I was still with Corey and then got all nervous. I forgot what that was like, to be liked. So this... that sucks. That sucks to read that because I'm so happy with Corey and he loves me so much and we're falling more and more for each other and I'm feeling safe. And then I'm also being hit on by friends. Yeah, don't like that. It is what it is, but... During sociology today, as I read a note on sex and how intimacy is involved in relationships, I fantasized about a night with Corey. I went so far as to put my head down on my desk and imagine what he'd do to me. I couldn't wait for our time together. When he asked what I wanted to do, I said, just watch TV. But as usual, we didn't get very far into it. I like how Corey and I match up. Our bodies and our sex drives and even our inhibitions. He did really good beforehand. And man, did it feel good when we finally got into it. I went, but it was different than it usually goes, like more powerful. Afterwards, I was lying there, sweating, confused because I felt so good, and Corey was just looking at me. I knew it, but I waited a while before I looked back. He was just so engaged, like he was just so happy with me. Then, yet another good moment. We went outside to lie on his grass. We have a habit of lying there in his grass when it's nice out. It was so romantic. How am I so freaking lucky? I can't remember which one of us said that. He looked at me again, truly happy. We went to his sister's house and I finally met his dad. It was fun. We went out to Krabby Joe's with them. His dad is so nice and reminds me a lot of Corey. We parted ways, kissed. I feel stable and so happy. Sometimes I wonder when things won't be so amazing for us, but I don't want to jinx it because I am just so happy and neutral and stable. So what happens next is oh no. Actually, the next entry is about an epic girls' night that I have. May 9th, 2006. I went out with Cassie and Amber yesterday. We acted like kids, did donuts in the parking lot, played hangman, had a pillow fight, made prank calls, laughed for hours. And then today I went for a car ride during spare period. I blared Gold Digger and Biggie with Janelle, Rochelle, and Cassie. Then I dropped them off and it was just Rochelle and I, and we talked. You seem different, she said. You know, I'm trying to fit the fun I missed while I was with Gert in grade 10 and 11, and that's why I'm having the time of my life now. And then I realized after telling this to B on Friday that not only am I having the time of my life, but I'm also becoming a mean girl. Ooh, ouch. I wrote a note to B today excusing my latest behavior, gossiping, being catty, as being afraid to be alone, but she says it's because I just want to fit in. Maybe so. And tonight I hung out with Corey for a bit. I told him about the program I got accepted to in British Columbia. He told me I should go. And I guess I wanted him to say more than that. I wish I could remember more details of this program I got into. It must have, I think it was it was maybe like a summer co-op before college. Or it was like for your, like if you're taking a year off between high school and college, it's like to fill that gap year. It was an academic program of some kind. Again, I don't have much details of it, but basically I got in and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to afford to go or like if I was going to go or if I wanted to go. So yeah, I can't remember. I wish I had more details, but basically it was a point of future contention for sure for us. Okay, so the next entry, I write this sweet little dialogue that Corey and I have about prom, which is in a few days. Corey says, "Prom is for you." And I say, "No, it's for beer." And he says, "No, kiss, it's for us." And I said, "So you're excited, eh?" He says, "Aren't you?" I say, "I don't know. I don't even have a dress." And he said, "You could come in a paper bag and I'd still think you were pretty." Which sets me up for disappointment because listen to what happens at prom. June 4th, prom. So I spent the days prior intensely and expensively getting ready for prom. I bought all the last minute items, got my hair and makeup done. It was worth it. I walked out of the house feeling beautiful. I want you guys to picture the look. So at this time in my life, I am like maybe 110 pounds and I am getting I'm going to tanning booths, so I'm very tan. And I have my hair like in the classic, like, curled but half up with, like, a bunch of shit in it, like jewels and stuff. And then I think I got my makeup done at, like, MAC or something, and I had, like, a smoky eye that looked good but, like, probably way too grown up. I got false lashes and immediately took them off because I couldn't stand them. And then my dress was a pure white satin, sleeveless, what's that top called? I can't think of the name, but it's basically when it's like a piece of fabric going over your boobs and then everything else like flows off of it. And my mom actually made the dress because I was like so self-conscious of my body. So she made a dress just for me. And I did. I felt gorgeous. But the problem is when I arrived, Corey was running late because he's a boy and was stressed and he was hot and he was running around. And so he didn't take me in. He didn't acknowledge all the effort and expense that had gone into like me looking the way that I did. And it upset me. It really upset me. The fantasy did not meet the reality. And my expectations were probably too high. So the next line I say was, he was unappreciative and I was unappreciative of that reaction. He was stressed and hot and late, so I gave him time. He looked good too. So I guess I tried my best to get over it. I was definitely like a little bit standoffish with him after that because I was upset, but we got over it. It was an amazing night. Drew told me I looked very nice. So did Dave. We spent hours pre-drinking and taking pictures. I was kicking a good buzz before prom even started. Prom itself was awesome. The limo ride was amazing. I was happy mostly because of Corey. I danced the night away, which is hilarious because I can't dance at all. But the after party was fun too. I didn't write enough about the after party, but the after party was like at this kid's house that lived out in the country, and most people were camping, and like so the yard was just littered in tents, and there was a keg and several acres for like 200 high school kids to just like get into trouble. I said the only bad part was at the end when Rob asked me to drive him to B's hotel room. I freaked. I cried, mostly because I was so drunk, but also because I was upset over B's backtracking to Rob, to Coke, to badness. But Corey cheered me up, and we drove Rob to the hotel, dropped him off, and by the time we got back to Corey's house, we just needed to sleep. So a little side tangent about that. So my very close friend in high school, B, she was dating this guy who was no good, and they had broken up, but I guess they were getting, they were hooking up on prom night or whatever, and I was just upset. I probably wasn't even really that upset. I was really drunk, so I had a tearful night. I write later about the night after prom. I say, we went to David's. I was having a decent time, but then I overheard someone talking about me and calling me a liar. I sat in the corner moping, waiting to sober up so I could go home. That's what I wanted to do. But I'm glad I went to Corey's instead, even though I was upset. David told me, you should really just talk to Corey. So I did. I finally talked. I said, I just don't understand why people don't feel guilty about making me feel so bad. Like no one's ever thought about the fact that maybe sometimes I have a problem. Some people are sketchbags, Some people are pathological liars, and no one even attempts to understand. And sweet Corey, he listened to me and told me that maybe those people don't matter so much. He said, you have to care about the people who don't judge you, Like my family. They love you, and I love you. And it was a perfect moment, and I couldn't help but make love to him after. And he was amazing. He made me smile, finally. So this was a conversation that I actually really remember because this was a time where I felt really shit scared that my guard was coming down. Like, I wouldn't say I was necessarily guarded. Like, I don't feel that way about myself, but I think there were things about me and all the conversations that I have so much language for now, like about mental health, that I didn't then. Because I didn't have the language, the only thing I knew was like I felt different than everyone else, and I felt fucked. Like I just felt like I was a fucking terrible person. I felt like everyone hated me. I felt like I wasn't deserving of, that's not fun to say. It's not fun to say out loud, but yeah, it was really hard. And that conversation, I really, really do remember. A little bit of time passes when I write. I even name it. I say June 12th. So much time has passed. Last week was just so busy with work and school. My weekend was also very busy. Omi and Opie were visiting, and I honestly wish I would have spent more time with them. I haven't seen Jenny in forever, or any of my Thorndale friends. It's Lewis's birthday today, and we just talked for about an hour. He was semi-drunk but alone, lonely too, I think. We laughed casually, sincerely, and most importantly, about old times. So I am I think what's happening is mostly in this diary is I'm really trying to balance having a boyfriend and the rest of my life because life has gotten busier. One thing, like I'm about to graduate from school, but also I have a full-time job. So I'm working most days after school from 3 till 11 p.m. And then that's all I'm doing. Work and school. Any time I have off, I'm spending it with Corey. For the most part, forgotten about my other friends. Most of my friends, like my actual friends, not just my party friends, but my friends don't appear really much in this diary, and I'm really struggling to balance that. Just like I did when I was Gurnt, with Gurnt. In fact, I start one of these entries with like, I feel like I'm slipping back into old patterns. I didn't do anything this weekend except hang out with Corey, so I can feel myself like going in a direction that is making me feel guilty. This entry starts with June 26th. My exams and high school are over and done with. It's strange. I remember going into grade 9 being so intimidated by other girls who are just like me now. And I think of my first day at school, talking to young girls who I remember when they were young and innocent, and how they changed just like I changed, just like I made friends with the girl who would make a difference in my life, who would show me a good time. And now I get to be with the boy of my dreams. I tried, I waited, and it was all worth it because we got to be together in the end. And how I am still the same as I always was in some ways. Like I still got an 82% in a class that I liked. The next entry is so fucked. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna read it. And I'm just gonna read it. Okay, so my weekend was amazing and exciting. Friday night, as planned, we went to the strip club. It was really fun. Me, Ferris, Cassie, Sarah, Shannon, and B drank before we went. We pretended it was my birthday. We all danced to a song. Can't remember what it is. You know what it is? It's that Buck Cherry song. Like, hey, you're a crazy bitch, but you fuck so good I'm on top of it. Like that, like, what the fuck? To which a weird man in the speaker box told the guys at the bar to send us all drinks. Ha ha. Okay, first of all, we're 7 fucking teen. And also, of course he did. Like, oh my God. I flashed the bartender and got hit on by a table full of boys who bought me and the beautiful shot girls Hooter shooters. Then I got on stage. I felt good about myself because I was with my girls and I had on my Hooters tank top. Please. Like, yeah, it's crazy. I didn't elaborate. I didn't elaborate on how any of that made me feel, if I thought that was like strange. Then I write, Saturday night was very consuming. I went to David's after work for a birthday party. It was so nice. I felt like everyone was being very friendly towards me. Especially Corey. Corey was all over me. I enjoyed it. It made me feel sexy, wanted, needed. Anyways, the big event of the night, I kissed Andrea. This random bisexual, extremely hot girl that Ferris brought with her to David's. She told me that she got a bisexual vibe from me. If I had a nickel. She kept telling me to ask Corey if I could make out with her. Corey said no, basically because it meant something. It'd be the same as cheating. So with all that said, I still kissed her because I knew she wanted me to, and I guess in a way I thought it might impress her. So I kissed her. Anthony didn't even know what was going on. He was so excited. And then a drunk Ferris jumped in and said, I clearly like you both, but I really think you should be thinking of Corey. So I got right up and deked. I was so embarrassed. I went to Corey's. He had no idea why I was upset. So he continued to be all over me as usual. I was upset and felt guilty. So Corey and I stopped having sex and just laid there in silence. I turned him away even though he played the, I don't know what this means, even though he played the Smashing Pumpkins for me. I turned him away, so he eventually got up and went outside. And I lay there by myself thinking of Andrea, thinking of my life 5 years down the line, and went outside and brought him inside with me. And then we made love, slowly, cautiously, romantically, and it felt better than usual because I truly, truly valued it. Yeah, this is like, obviously that's horrible. I don't know that I still feel guilty for it now. I mean, I think it's wrong. I think what I did is wrong, obviously. And I think I was like blatantly cheating on my boyfriend, but calling it not cheating because it was with a girl and I'm not gay and whatever. But really what was happening was I was having a complete crisis of my sexuality because I was so attracted to this girl and I wanted to experience like being with a woman so bad. But I was also really in love with my boyfriend, Corey, and we were obviously having pretty decent sex. So yeah, it was a confusing time and it doesn't end there. This is not the only time we'll meet this Andrea character. In fact, I did not shake this Andrea character until I was like 32. So summer happens and summer is very hectic. And the next, 20 or 30 pages of this diary is basically me, again, working all night, all day, all afternoon, all night, coming home from work and spending all my waking hours with Corey. But I'm also partying a lot. So basically my life is like I work 3 to 11, then I go to a party. Then at like 4 a.m., Corey and I get back to his place drunk. And then I sleep until I have to go to work the next day. And that is literally the cycle that I'm in for months. And I can feel it degrading me so much in these diary entries. But like, again, I don't have the language or the tools to ask for what I need or even know what I need or engage in any form of self-care. I'm young. I'm invincible. I know that. So I'm just going to give you a little snapshot. This is August 5th. I think hectic isn't going to be so good for me for the next little while. Last night was a crazy night that in some ways I feel bad about. I went to Harris's right after work and everyone was already there. When I walked in, I all of a sudden felt super insecure. I was freaking out thinking I should have just gone home after work so I wouldn't look like shit. All the other girls in the room, Jackie, Shannon, B, Farrah, Sarah, Andrea, they all looked so damn beautiful. But I was a bummer because I felt gross, despite Rank and Anthony telling me I wasn't. But I felt weird because of how close Shannon and Corey were being. It just tripped me out, I guess. B and I went on a nice long walk to talk about it. She said, we're the same, and no matter what, we'll be friends. I talked to Amanda, too. She assured me that she likes me. So that was cool. I feel like I'm just like going around this party being like, do you like me? Are you sure you like me? Which is obviously pathetic, but also tracks. Then, so one of my friends takes Oxycontin and I take him home because he's kind of freaking out. Then I write, anyways, every time Andrea and I were remotely alone, we made out. It was strange, passionate. Even though every single guy there wants her, she always tells me I'm cute and tries to be with me. It didn't feel wrong because, in a way, Corey felt wrong to me. not wrong, but we went outside to talk, and he told me how much I meant to him and that I'm the reason he's okay now. You know, I'm an insomniac, right? Well, I can sleep when I'm with you. It was so romantic, especially when he stopped me on the way back and told me that this is the real me, Yoda. It is. He told me that I make him feel warm. My family, they tell me they love me, but it feels like a cold slap in the face. You make me feel so warm. Ooh. And I don't know what is wrong with me. I don't know why I work the crowd instead of sitting close to Corey. I just don't know. Ugh, that sucks. Corey finds out that I have made out with Andrea at a party. And rightfully so, he tells me he wants to break up with me. We have a huge fight. I start this entry. This is a letter that I wrote to Corey, August 7th. I say, Corey, don't give up on me. I have so much more to give. I know I might feel wrong to you, but I have to tell you what I want. Part of me wants to be stable. That part of me rejects and resents every single thing about my mother and sister's instability. That part of me feels so much pride in cleaning my entire house, cooking a meal, working hard. That part of me is also the part that didn't let us have that let's be all over each other and can't live without you stage. The other part of me is the part you're seeing now. She's weak. She cries. She wants desperately for you to take care of her. And Corey, I'm sorry I can't decide who I am. I just need more time. You can show me, help me. I know you can. I know in my heart that I will never ever find a person who is as good to me as you are. And I promise you that you will never ever find a person who loves you as much as I do. And I do love you. The real me loves the real you. And I have for so long. Both parts of me love you. All of me loves you. And I'm sorry for every moment up until now. Every cold shoulder, emotionless stare, and every time you had to go to sleep wondering how I feel. I know exactly what it is like to tell someone you love them when you think you do and for them to not say it back. And I will be forever in your debt for passing that pain on to you. I did it to help myself. I am selfish. And I cannot promise you that this will fix everything, but I can tell you that I am ready to let you take care of me, to see me, to help me not hold back, and to open up. Please try, because I am. Well, that's fucking hard. Meanwhile, I write just a few days later. Andrea was there and acting weird. She was cold. She texted me later saying she was just tired and she hoped that we could finish what we started the other night. So thus begins Yoda's journey into the slow decline. The slow decline has begun, and it's my fault. It's definitely my fault. Corey and I, we broke up, but we weren't broken up. It was like we were on a break. Shout out Ross. We were on a break and for like a day, and basically I write August 13th. I say, after Corey and I broke up, in quotations, I was distraught. The next day I went to Ben's party and he came way after me. I was unhappy the whole night, and even more unhappy when I realized that him and I just weren't going to work it out that night. So I left. I heard that after I left, he got really drunk and tried to drive home. Ben and David had to drag him back inside when the cops came. Anyway, the next day I woke up and nothing was right. I felt so sad. I knew I made a mistake, so I called him that night. Well, actually, he visited me at work because the night before I had left a note on his front door explaining, it's hard being with someone so perfect. It really makes you realize a lot of bad shit about yourself. But it also said, take me back for at least one day so we can talk about this. That's a pretty manipulative note to leave on someone's front door. So when I went over, I was nervous, so nervous. I was thinking in my head about what I had been crying about all day, the thought of him actually breaking it off with me. We talked a lot. The first really serious emotional conversation we've ever had. Not true even in the slightest. Maybe the first sober one. I guess we're sober-ish in this moment. I explained to him that I was truly scared, and what it came down to was the moment he asked me if I wanted to be with him or without him. I said with, and then he gave in a little and hugged me. It was solid. We kissed and made up. It was romantic and so fun. He let me stay the night. It was perfect, the whole night. The next night we hung out. It was playful. We went over to Harris's after we giggled and fucked around. On Friday night, we went to a party. There was so much drama. I had fun, but everyone was fiending. But Corey and I had a great time. It reminded me of old times. Wow, I can't believe it's almost been a year. The next day, I went over again, and we lay on his couch with no TV, made out, laughed. Oh man, he made me laugh so hard, so freaking hard. I love it when I make him laugh. We had a good long talk about how our conflicts start, because I get really embarrassed and I just wish I could disappear. And then I realize I can't and get even more discouraged, and he won't let me hide. It was the first one of these really serious talks we've had that was followed by a kiss. Okay. So again, that whole thing is followed by, I chilled with Andrea tonight too. It was cool, relaxed. I think I just honestly think she's an attractive girl, and I'm excited by someone thinking the same about me. But it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right what I'm doing to Corey. Like, duh. Again, I have a lot of compassion for this version of myself, and I'm not going to be like super apologetic now, like 20 years later. I do think it's shitty. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap this up with a poem that I found that I copied out at the end of this diary in like, I think I'm trying to do calligraphy, but I don't know how to do it. And it's just like really weird cursive. But I definitely wrote this poem before Corey and I got together. So I think I'll read it now. It's called Vow. I'll never try to change you. I love you just the way you are. And if you ever need me, I'll travel from afar. If you ever feel lonely, I'll show how much I care. If you're ever feeling sad, I promise to be there. If you need anything from me, I promise that I'll try. I'll never keep a secret. I promise not to lie. No one will come before you or ever take your spot. And if you give us a chance, I'll give you everything I got. 'Cause you're everything I want. My heart belongs to you. Now the only thing I need is for you to love me too. That's not bad. Snaps for 16-year-old Yoda. All right, everybody, this has been a fun and hard episode, admitting some things about myself and my past that I'm not proud of at all. And I just know where this is going. Like, I know what's going to happen next, and I'm sad for me, and I'm sad for you because it's not pretty. But we're still going to get into it and see what we can learn from this past version of myself, and hoping that I can stay kind. And I'm just, like I said at the top of this episode, I'm just so grateful for every single one of you for coming along on the ride. All right, everybody, you know where to reach me, www.dolovewords.com. Big, big love.